Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible day. And may peace be upon you. Welcome to the show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And today I have a friend of mine, Nick, who is the founder of High Vibe Juicing. And today he's going to be talking about health and nutrition and wellness, but also share the insights of his entrepreneurial journey, and hopefully you'll learn something from it and can benefit you in your own journey as well. So let's welcome my friend Nick to the show. Hi, Nick. Thank you for coming for the show.
Hi, Izzy. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to see you.
I know. I was talking to Nick backstage. I'm like, when did we last meet? We can't figure it out, but I believe maybe at least a year or two since we last met each other in person. But it's great to be meeting back with you, Nick. So let's jump straight to the point here, because I know our viewers are eager to learn from you. So let's go straight into what is the benefits of intentional juicing. So Nick has a juicing company. So what is the benefit of intentional juicing for your health, for your wellness, for your, overall well-being?
Sure. So, man, that's a big question to answer, because it's one of those things where juice is this vehicle for, at its core, it's a vehicle for healing. It enables the body to heal. It creates the space and provides the energy for the body to self-heal. So, that could cover a lot of things, that, and what I've come to really learn and maybe love most about this over the course of, like, especially these last 5 years or so, is that this healing and this, it's not just a physical it's not just a physical aspect. It's very much spiritual and emotional. And and as I don't know, I think we're finding ourselves in like this new era, like our ways of life have radically changed. And I've found, and many of my clients have found, that our old ways of fueling our bodies and consuming are no longer compatible with this new, I think, a higher vibrational reality that we're living in. So juicing is like the greatest tool to heal your body, but also raise your vibration, which is your energy, and tune to a higher frequency, one in which disease and dysfunction and low-level emotions like fear, anxiety, greed, guilt, they can't exist. They can't exist. When you're vibrating up here, those things are no longer part of your reality.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear about, because everything is energy, right? And each element, whether it's food, is our clothing, is our drink, they all has a certain vibrational energy to it. And I feel like, Nick, the reason where the community is sick is because their body is out of balance, both spiritually as well as physically, emotionally as well. Now, one of the things that you do, Nick, is that you have facilitated over 10,000 cleansing. So talk us through what it is and how it benefits our health, and what are the things that you see from doing that intentional cleansing?
All right. Well, okay. So first off, the cleansing really is a non-negotiable, I believe, for anyone who wants to truly live a vibrant life and experience like I guess like really like the most enriched life. We got to cleanse our body, and we have to feed our body living foods, and juice and our cleanses. What's different about our cleanses is, well, for one, the intention that goes into it, but the makeup, the structure of our cleanse programs, they're not, for one, it's not just juice. So we start off, there's a whole, I guess, like architecture. So it's 7 steps per day, 6 drinks and then one like snack. And they're taking your body through a process each day. And then like a process each day. And then each day is like, kind of like the next step, the next evolution in this process. And we include things like, when I started off, what made us really different and I think so successful was I was not a raw vegan juicery like most. And so what that means is like I was serving things like bulletproof coffee. We were putting grass-fed butter, MCT oil, and collagen proteins into our coffee. And that just led us down. It exposed us to like this other world, like we had all the superfood juices going on, but by catering to those, serving those, like that other group, say like the paleo, keto, those type of, I guess like identities. Then we started making bone broth, and we started making juices that were like really low sugar that appealed to those people. So we became this place where it wasn't just juice junkies that were coming to us. It was like anybody who truly cared about what they put in their bodies, really wanted to. I think like what all of our customers have had in common is like they're driven, and they really want to perform and feel their best. Look, feel, perform at their best.
Yeah, so they want to look, feel, and perform at their best. And one of the vehicles that they use is juicing, right? There are other vehicles that part of the holistic well-being as well. Now, I'm really interested with, you said there's your cleansing protocol. There's like six drinks and then one snack. So how long is that? How long does that program last for? Is it like a 3-day? Is it like a 5-day? And can you just like lightly touch about what are the 6 drinks that people are taking, just so that they get an idea of
Sure.
what goes into where and how it slots into their health?
Sure. Okay, so I'll fire through these 7 categories real quick. So every day you start off with your break fast. We break fast with intention to prep the body for deep detoxification. So that's celery juice. And then we've got like most of the days. And then we have on days 3 and 4, it's like other ones that are like slightly different. But we break fast with intention. Then number 2, it's a ceremonial tonic. So this started off as bulletproof coffee was like the one everyone was putting in that slot. But as time went on and we kind of evolved, I think, like our health and our routine and what our bodies crave, we realized that coffee can be like overstimulating, and it's really taxing on your nervous system and your adrenals. So we started making these really decadent matchas, like the best matcha you ever had in your life. A lot of people think they don't like matcha. Trust me, you'll love this one. So, and that matcha, that tonic, is providing, it sharpens your focus, but it also elevates feelings of gratitude. There's just something about it, like this warm, satiating drink in the morning that's kind of like getting it's like turning your brain on all the way. Number 3 is an adrenal cocktail. So that's this formula. It's a juice, but it's a specific formula that includes a macro dose of vitamin C, potassium, sodium, and magnesium. What that does is it calms your nervous system and restores optimal like adrenal function or hormonal balance, like your thyroid. Everyone's got thyroid issues these days. This like takes care of that. And when you finish your adrenal cocktail, for one, they're delicious, but 2, like you feel it, like you feel balanced. Number 4 is a detoxifying green, a different one each day. Here's an example of one, our Dandy Detox right here. This one's like sweet, bitter, savory, very, very satisfying midday. That's kind of like your lunch slot. Number 5 is a gut healing snack that's in the late afternoon. Um, the first 2 days they're salads that kind of help to like scrub the digestive tract while also providing these raw, like ideal plant fibers that are going to cultivate a healthier gut biome for the future. Um, then we have, and then sea moss on days 3 and 4 in that slot. Then we've got our dinner broth, which everybody loves, especially this time of year when the weather's getting cooler. Like that satiating broth. So we make some awesome bone broth, but also we have also a vegan version of that. We call our longevity broth. Sea vegetables, a lot of minerals, a lot of medicinal mushrooms, very good. And then we finish off with a dessert shake, and that's a coconut shake, a shaman shake. We've got some different recipes. There's a ton of variety, and it's built like it's kind of like a culinary adventure. Like if you've ever been to like a fancy tasting menu kind of restaurant, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that, except it's superfoods and it's taking your body through this journey. Um,
Yeah, it's
so
like
that,
around the world journey kind of thing, right? You have the matcha, and then you have this, you have the ginger, you have the spinach. It's taking you all
yeah,
around
tons of
the world.
variety and so it really eliminates hunger. Hunger is not an issue. Like you will miss chewing delicious food, but that's it. Like you're not hungry. You're very well. You're like honestly like super fueling your body. And the entire program is 3.5 days, and we landed on that duration because um, it's easy to cleanse during the day. At night is when it gets like when it's more difficult, because like we're used to like eating dinner, enjoying dinner with our family, and like the ideal length would probably be 4 days, but we've found that like everybody can handle 3.5. So and like to really streamline it and make a signature duration, that's what we landed on, the 3.5 day.
Yeah, especially when, it's hard now. There's a lot of distractions. Even when you go to the supermarket, you're bombarded with things that are not good for our body, right? And when you walk in. So I think like when you're able to streamline things and make it effective versus like a 7 day, a 12-day thing, then people are just gonna give up even before
Correct.
they started.
Yeah.
So Nick, one of the things that being an entrepreneur is that we have a lot of ups and downs, more downs than up, I would say, more than
I'd
anything.
agree with that.
So, and you recently made an announcement in your Instagram. So this is not a private thing. He made an announcement on his Instagram that you're closing down your shop. In fact, I think you're already in the process of that. So
Hmm.
talk us through, the emotional part of things, the decision that you had to make to close that shop, and then what is opening up for you when that particular door is closed.
Yeah. So, our first shop we opened, it was right in River North, downtown Chicago, which was kind of like the epicenter of kind of everything. It was like the perfect blend of, fancy restaurants and nightclubs and luxury apartments and like kind of like high-end office buildings, and it was right across the river, close to like everything that the downtown loop has to offer, theaters and whatnot, close to the Mag Mile. It really is like the heart. It's like the heart of downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and it was amazing. Like we took this 636 square foot space that was previously an enterprise rental car office, and I built a juice lab in it. And I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I just like, yeah, I mean, I was like traveling around the country trying to study like these other juice companies, because this was a brand new industry, this cold pressed juice industry, and there was no how to. So I was like, doing like recon, checking out these other places, trying to see like what does their kitchen look like, peeking in the back, and we just figured it out, made it work. And like I don't come from like a business background, like I studied law, and then I decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. So, and my family business is, my dad was a union boss in Chicago. He was the head of the iron workers in Chicago for many decades. And so I did that as like my, you know, uh, temporary job, like through college and then after college while I was kind of like figuring out what I wanted to do. And fortunately, like that was like, I made a lot of money doing that. I was paid very well, but I was very unfulfilled. I felt like, well, I guess then when I decided, like, I mean, I knew I didn't want to iron work. My dad didn't want me to iron work. He, sent me to college and was like, "What are you, figure it out, do something. If you don't want to go to law school, do something else. So I got into commercial real estate, and I really enjoyed parts of that job, but I didn't like I didn't like working in an office. I didn't like the office dynamic. It was kind of cutthroat. It was very social. It was like a party. It was very much like everyone's very social. So there was like a party scene, and I was very much in my party era at that time. So it fit, but I knew that wasn't the thing for me either. And I remember back then that in the mornings when I would be getting dressed, when I would be lacing up my shoes, it was either my dress shoes going to commercial real estate office or my work boots to go iron work. I would say to myself, like I would like whisper out loud to myself, what the fuck am I doing? Mm-hmm. And like almost every day. And it's like that's one of those things I think back on to like I knew that like I was supposed to be doing something else, you know? And I got turned on to juicing by my cousin. He was like my partner that I would iron work with all the time, and he was very much like he was like a health freak, I would say. That's how I would describe him back then. Now I've eclipsed him, but he was a health freak, and he was the one that told me about a movie. It was called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and it's this documentary about a guy who was in poor health. He was on a ton of prescription meds, and he was like the title said, he was like in bad shape, and he decided that he was going to try something different. So he hired a camera crew to follow him, and he went on I think it was a 30-day juice fast while he drove cross country in America. And this guy was from Australia, so it was really interesting. Like, it's a really interesting and entertaining movie. But I watched it, and I saw this guy transform. Like, the weight fell off. Like, in 30 days, he was a completely different person. Physically, but like energetically too. Like, he was like beaming. And I saw that, and it inspired me because like at that time, like I was searching for something. I was like, I worked out a ton, but I was indulging. I was like overeating. I was eating very like rich foods, indulgent foods, especially like late at night when I would come home from like drinking, and the drinking led to all kinds of other problems, whether it was like drugs, fights, jail. I've been arrested like 9 times at least. And so I bought a juicer. I saw this guy transform, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to get that. So I bought a juicer, and I loaded my fridge with all the produce, and then organic produce. And then I went out that night and I got wasted. And when I woke up in the morning, in my foggy haze of guilt, you know, I saw the juicer on the counter, remembered like, okay, that's what time it is. So I fired it up, fired everything through it, and what I made like looked terrible, you know, but I wanted to feel it, you know, so I just put everything in it. Everything that was like super healthy: kale, beets, lemon, ginger, carrots, apples, everything. And I just had this feeling of this like rush of purifying energy flow through my body that I'd never felt before. And that's how it started. And I started like following these juice companies, and you know, I was traveling, and I would seek out, you know, like, what's the best juice spot in LA? What's the best juice spot in Scottsdale, in Vegas, in Miami? And I was just like, I became like obsessed. I became like a connoisseur of these businesses, and I would go there and I'd spend $150, buy all the raw foods and juices. And I was like an addict. Like I like loved the way it made me feel. So it didn't take many of those trips, and then coming back to my like Breville juicer and my, you know, apartment kitchen before I realized like, this is it. This is what I should do, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's how it started.
Yeah, that's so amazing. You know, all those kind of like the late nights, the drinking, the partying, everything else, to the point where you kind of like, you almost had it, and then you went out drinking again, right? And then that morning you're like with your daisy guilt, kind of like, might as well, the juice is on the counter. I've got all this fresh produce. And I love the way that you said that it made me feel, I like the way it made me feel. And I think like a lot of people are not listening to their body. They listen to what the doctor says. Yes, the doctor does have some valid point, but the doctor doesn't know your body as well as you do. They only see you for 2 minutes kind of thing. So I love the way you say, you know, I love the way it makes me feel. Like, I think one of the biggest take is for the audience here to listen to your body. What does it want? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? What are the produce that's gonna make you come alive? And like Nick does cold pressed juice, which is different, right, Nick,
Mhm.
than the naked juice that's in Costco that's been there, I don't know, for 6 months or something.
Correct. It's dead. I call that dead juice. You
Yeah,
know,
the red juice.
you
So
want
this
the juice that's alive. You know.
yes, juices that are alive, that gonna has vibrancy, that's gonna be high energy. You feel it. You feel like when I have naked juice now, Nick, I'm like, it doesn't feel good to me because it feels flat
Yep.
compared to when I make my own version of smoothie or something, because it's fresh.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, we're at the end of our interview today, so let's give the audience something that they can take away from. Like, what's one action step that your audience can take away from you today? One simple thing.
Energy is everything, and it begins with what you consume, what you put in your body, and that it and you know food, juice, like what you're consuming with your mouth is only one aspect. It's also like what you're allowing in your ears and in your eyes. Like what you're watching on TV, and and when you start consuming foods, living foods that provide like this, I don't know, I would call it like source energy.
Mm-hmm.
You're Everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
Like I didn't set out like wanting to like not drink alcohol, but sure enough, it just fell away. And
Mm-hmm.
then soon enough, it's like I stopped smoking cannabis too,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because everything has a vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
And when you're down here, you might smoke some cannabis or have a cocktail and feel like it lifts you up or expands your mind or your creativity or something. But when you raise your vibration up here and those substances are down here, when you take them in, it can pull you down, and that doesn't feel good. So it's just when you start raising your vibration, and it starts with what you consume, everything else, like your vices, so to speak, or your bad habits, they naturally fall away. It's like effortless. And
Yeah, brilliant. So, like, watch your energy and look at, to raise your vibration, think about the consideration in your environment and the food that you put in and the juice that you take. Thank
yep.
you so much, Nick. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. With me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, and my special guest today, Nick, who is from the founder of High Vibe Juices. So, Nick, very, very quickly, in 20 seconds, how can people get in touch with you and get your juices?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at juiceboss33. The High Vibe is our website is where you can order our cleanses. We ship nationwide. It's actually spelled HI-VIBE.com. You go on there. We pick our 3.5 day superfood cleanse, and that will serve as a springboard to a new you and a higher vibration life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nick. All right,
Thanks,
everybody.
Izzy.
Take care.
Pleasure.
And remember, it takes courage when you share your voices, but that should not stop you from owning who you are.